Not all photographic trips turn out to be a success, as I'm going to demonstrate here. Now unfortunately the facts of life are that when we go out and take photographs, they're not always going to be earth-shattering or hugely successful. And on this particular trip, things didn't go well for me. Now things didn't get off to a good start. I mean, this guy turned up for a start.
A real photographer.
And if that wasn't bad enough, I trapped my finger in the tripod. So anyway, have a quick look at the video and then I'll explain afterwards where I think it all went wrong.
Well, we are down on the beach today for the first time in a year. It's a gorgeous sunny day. It's so bright you can probably see me squinting. And really not sure what to shoot, but you can't beat a good sand pattern. So a sand pattern it is. Now the thing with sand patterns is you really do need to get a clean one. I don't want little bits of shells or bird footprints in there. I want the purity of it, because if you get it right, it can be very abstract. It can be absolutely anything. And scale is very difficult to judge as well, so easy as it may seem, I do need to walk around a little bit and find the ideal patch. Well, I'm working with the Nikon FE today with HP5+, and I am working tripod mounted as much as possible. Been a little bit trigger happy and slapdash over the past few weeks and months with the autofocus. Just thought I'd slow it down today. Now I've got the lens set to f16, plenty of depth of field in there. Need to wait for the sun to come back a little bit though, because it's dropped, and I need that sharpness to give the elevation to the ripples. Now here it comes now. Just put the mirror up by using the self-timer on the FE, great little feature. Yeah, about a 30th of a second, should do fine. Bingo.
Well, this is a bit of a poor effort really. I mean, it's diagonal sand patterns, yes, bit of nice lighting, but I haven't really done much with it, have I? It's quite ordinary. It's an iPhone snap at best, so that's not really what I was there for.
Well, a simple, oh, a bit too bright for you there. Well, a simple but satisfying start, because I'll be honest, we'd walked around for about an hour and couldn't find anything to shoot. Getting the camera out and shooting the first frames, very important. I feel a bit more motivated now. Now I do like the way that these little outlets, these little patches of water get highlighted against the sea, the sky, and the brighter patches of sand. And if you get the light, that's lovely, isn't it? If you get the light right, it can be very dramatic. I'm thinking you could play this right down in black and white and go for a very low-key image with just this sort of water here picked out. Very nice indeed. Now again, I've spotted some light catching the sand, but also I've got some distant sand dunes. Now, it looks nothing in colour, but by using my preview device, which you'll find the description of as always in the notes, I'm able to identify the black and white components that work best in the scene, and it's a high contrast scene. So I've got the 50mm lens on again, but I am now going to switch to the 85 and get a bit of a tighter crop with less sky. That's going to put more emphasis on the channel in the foreground and bring the sand dunes somewhat more forward, increasing their prominence in the scene.
Now I think this is another wasted opportunity. I mean, nice sand hills in the distance and nice light, but my shot, it actually looks worse than the video. I've got a big expanse on the right which is empty, and the sky is bland, and that channel is not in the best position, so yeah, could do better.
Well, can't resist these sand patterns here, but the light, typically, as soon as you get set up, has disappeared. It's sat behind a cloud, back any moment now though. Got the 50mm on again, not surprisingly, and I've got a bit of, well, quite a lot of the water actually, and a bit of the pattern on each side, not too much. I'm tempted to switch to a 28mm actually and get more of it in, but I'll only know that when the sun comes back out. Well, the FE just took a tumble and flew off the tripod, it's not clipped on properly, and landed on its lens hood. But apart from a bit of sand around here and around the eyepiece and around here, it looks okay. But I shall get it back, dry it all off carefully, and then I shall brush it away gently.
Now, definitely another case of underperforming here. I mean, I do have some nice patterns in the sand and some good lighting, but my composition is off. That top right hand with the channel coming through it, it does nothing for the eye. It wastes all the good patterns in the sand on the left.
Well, I'm having a field day here shooting these patterns. Just look at these. I mean, that sort of stuff's fantastic material. It could be anything. You know, you could be looking down at an estuary of a river from miles up, or it could be a sort of a micro scale. But yeah, just got to be careful I don't get any more sand in the camera by dropping it again. So yeah, take my time.
Now this one had a bit more potential because it was a simpler composition. I haven't got the water distracting me, and I had to apply quite a bit of contrast in there to boost it, but really it was quite hastily taken, to be honest, and I could have done more with those lines in there. I could have actually got closer and made it a stronger composition, so not good.
Now, the only problem with shooting these sort of sand patterns continually is I'm only likely to choose one, because one will be better than the others. There's always a stronger one. Unless you go for a sort of triptych or a diptych where you put 2 or 3 together. And that's what I may do, but I would have to shoot an awful lot more than I have so far to get 3 really good ones. I imagine at the moment there's only 1 or 2 in there worthy of a print, so whether I keep shooting these or look for something different is questionable at the moment. Well, after a very satisfying lunch back at the car, we're back out again, and the nice thing now is that with it being 2 hours off sunset, the light is warming up and it is getting extremely attractive for photography. Even harsher contrast than earlier, but the clouds behind me, look at those clouds on the sandhills. They're getting picked out beautifully, and hopefully we're going to get a nice sunset. I can't see any reason why we wouldn't, and although a black and white sunset isn't to everyone's taste, it is to mine. I've also just swapped out the rucksack because I'm working light now. I have kept hold of the tripod though, because I'm using non-stabilised lenses, and I've just gone with the handheld camera strap, a little waist pouch with extra film, and just down to 2 lenses now. I did find that I don't use the wide angle on beaches. The beach is wide anyway. I mean, just look at it, it's a massive expanse of sand. So I've got the 50mm and the 85mm Nikkor primes. 50mm feels wide down here, believe it or not, and 85mm doesn't feel very long, so I'm going to make the most of this fantastic hard lighting here, just silhouetting Rob in there. And yeah, this is the sort of thing I like. It's quite graphic and quite strong, and you can play it down to a very low key image. Well, we've just adjourned to the sandhills for the last hour or so while the sun's setting. I love the colour on the marram grasses here, and yeah, hopefully could get some of these into the foreground. I don't know really, it's a case of trying something different. I've done the sort of sea so many times with the rivulets and the channels running out. I want something different. There's no use coming every single time and shooting the same thing. We'll scratch that, the sandhills were rubbish, so we're heading back to the channels to do more of the same.
Now this is where I feel I could have done my best for the day. I mean, look at the light there. It's exactly what you would want on a beach. It's perfect, but I've not made the most of it. I have carried on shooting in the same manner as before. And apart from this one, which I would say on balance is probably the best of the day, but is a bit too short in terms of focal length, the light's okay, composition's not bad, but I could have done so much more with it. And Robin got a far better shot, by the way, so I'm not going to show you that one, of course. But again, wasted opportunities, perfect lighting. Thought I was doing well, but nope.
Well, the sun's setting now. It's just about got to the point where I can actually take a shot because it's not dazzling me. In fact, it's dipped behind clouds now, so we're going to rely on the reflections on the stream, the outlet in front of us to pick up the light, and that should give me some nice contrast. But with just a few frames left, I'm going to take my time and maybe just pick out 1 or 2 more shots.
So not my finest hour by any means. The day just petered out, the light was snuffed out, and I was left with a couple of frames in the camera and nothing to shoot. But by that time, I'll be honest, I had sort of lost my enthusiasm anyway. And not only did I realise that the shots I'd taken were probably a little bit mediocre, but I also realised that I'd wasted an opportunity. Now, the light was fantastic at the end of the day. I should have done far more with it. And I would say actually that part of that was due to my choice of lenses. I needed a longer lens on the day. I had a super zoom in the bag. I didn't use it. Struggling with the 85mm as the longest lens, I just couldn't isolate things. I had far too much open and empty space in there. I should have got far closer to the subjects like the sand patterns, and I should have thought more about the arrangement of those patterns and the elements in the frame. It was a case of, I don't know whether it was laziness or lack of enthusiasm, or it's just one of those days when things didn't click for me. And I can't blame the weather either. The weather was fantastic. So note to self, maybe get myself a bit more fired up before I start and think a little bit more about what I'm going to shoot. It's not as if I haven't shot that location before. I have, and I've made a lot of good images there in the past. So next time I go out there, probably prepare myself a little bit better, take some more wide-ranging equipment, a wider lens and a longer lens to be able to do more with those open scenes, and yeah, get out there and do it all again. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.